Being self-published is really cool, actually. I obviously didn't start out my journey as an author intending to self-publish, but I'm certainly glad that I did choose to go down this route. I didn't want to give up on my book because I wasn't getting the responses that I initially wanted and hoped for. I knew what I was getting myself into when I decided to go down the self-published route. I knew that it was going to be a lot of work, and there was going to be a lot of things that I didn't know how to do, that I was going to have to learn and things like that. And it's been really exciting since I set out on that journey to, learn how to market and how to do a lot of graphic design. And it's been crazy. I've loved every second of it, though. I wouldn't change anything. Well, as I just said, it's taken a lot for me to get here, to be honest. I have learned an awful lot of new skills, but they were hard to learn, and I can definitely say that some people would probably look upon that as a con. But I've got these amazing new skills now that I can use. I can make book trailers and market and things like that. And they're things that I'm definitely going to carry forward and take into future projects. So I'm going to look upon that as a pro for sure. And also with indie publishing, you're in complete control of your project. You're in charge of the artwork and the editing and the title and when it's released. That was one of the major concerns that I had. I didn't really want to have to wait 18 months to have my book sent out into the public domain, and I was really excited to have people read it, and it was ready. So I've been able to pick the perfect time for it to get sent out and things like that. And every single aspect of this book has come from me, which that was really important to me. And I know that when you do traditionally publish, a lot of people are involved, and therefore a lot of people have different opinions and tweak little bits and pieces, and it kind of probably doesn't feel like your own baby anymore. But it's, Sovereign Hope definitely does feel like it's still my baby, so I'm really pleased about that. The cons, I guess, would be the fact that you have very little support. You're going out into this realm that you don't really understand or know how it works, and you have to do everything for yourself, and with a very limited understanding at the very beginning of what's required of you. So that can be very, very daunting. I can totally see why some people would be too overwhelmed by the prospect of the amount of work that's involved in self-publishing. So that's definitely a con. I guess the most important pivotal moment in my journey to becoming an indie author was the decision to actually become an indie author. I was contacted by a traditional publisher as I was making my plans to release Sovereign Hope, and they were really keen to publish, and they sent contracts through, and we spent a long time discussing how it would work and what would be required of me and of them. And it was a really tough decision for me to make, because my heart was saying don't do it, and my head was saying absolutely sign with these people, and there was just something inside of me that was begging me not to do it, because I knew that it was going to get sort of taken over by a corporate organisation at the end of the day. And I made the decision to do it myself. I felt really, really bad about that for a long time, and a lot of sleepless nights, because when you're offered a contract with a publisher, you probably should grab hold of it with two hands, but I just couldn't make myself do it. I really wanted to be in charge and to be able to share my passion my way, and I've definitely been able to do that. So I'd say that's probably the most pivotal, important moment in my career as an indie author. My advice to anyone wanting to become an indie author would be to do it. Don't spend all your time freaking out about what you are and what you aren't capable of doing, because you'll never know until you try. Don't get bogged down in worrying about how crazy it is that you've got to do all of this work yourself. It's totally doable. You just need to understand what you need to do and the time frames for each of those steps and follow the plan basically, and you'll get there before you know it. It's so incredibly hard to describe your book in only 3 words. To be honest, I don't think it's possible without saying the same thing that everyone must say, I'm sure. I'd have to go with unique, because that's how I intended it to be, and I hope it is. Action-packed and romantic, and I bet everybody says that. The inspiration was a really long, drawn-out process, to be honest. It wasn't like a thunderbolt descending from the heavens and striking me where I lay in my bed like some authors are lucky enough to receive. I spent a long time thinking about what I wanted to write about, and how the story was going to progress and who my characters were going to be. I knew I wanted to write paranormal romance in the young adult genre, and I read a lot of books in the genre at the time, trying to, do my research, and they were all about werewolves and vampires, which is great. They were fantastic books, but I really wanted to step away from that and do something a little different that was going to be unique, and to build a world basically that my characters could inhabit that would be completely different to anything else that I'd read. I didn't want it to be predictable or to follow the same format that I'd been reading in everything that I'd picked up over the weeks previous. So I spent a long time thinking about how I would make it individual, and how I would make my characters individuals as well. And the Immortals, the Reavers, came to me when I was thinking about why it was that vampires lived off blood, how that sustained them as immortals, and why it was blood and not anything else, because I realised that blood was just another part of the human body, and why wasn't it their toenail clippings or whatever that was making these immortals powerful and strong, or whatever. What was so different about blood when it's obviously the soul that's the eternal aspect of our beings, depending on what you believe, I suppose, but that's certainly how it seems to me. And I figured that was slightly more realistic, if you can get realistic at all in a genre like this. But the bad guys to me were really nasty pieces of work that took people's souls, because once a vampire kills you, you're just dead, you still move on to heaven or hell or whatever you believe in. But if a soul reaver comes and takes your soul, you're not going anywhere. So I thought that was a terrifying prospect, and I hope I put that across in my book. We'll have to wait and see.